Hello everyone, in here, how you doing today? Today I'm going to, of course, be playing some more Minecraft. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to get the chat up on my phone. So if anyone does reply or comment or whatever, I will be able to, of course, see it live. Which means I'll be able to play Minecraft fully without having to use game capture or anything as per usual. Miles better. Right. I really should have got a drink before this, but I wanted to test out my my new gaming mouse and gaming keyboard that I got for Christmas. And so far what I've noticed about them is that they're not really much different to any regular mouse and any regular keyboard. It's just a slight bit more sensitive, or unless that's the sensitivity on here. No. Okay, surprisingly not. I mean, I would show you, but the wires are really small, and yeah. Let's just really give it a go. Try and use it at its full capacity, I guess, but with this, I'm doing fairly okay. Hello, witch. Why can't there be warlocks in here as well? I mean, there's witches, so why can't there be warlocks? You know? Just realised I didn't. Oh no, wait, I can do it in here. I need to make a furnace. Not a chest, even. How do I do that again? How do I make a chest? I don't know. Da 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 da. Oh, like a furnace. Okay, I see now. Oh, okay, I see now. Of course. Right. I've been struggling with the gaming mouse and keyboard so far because of how big they are, and I'm not used to big mouses and keyboards and stuff like that. Anyone commented so far? No. I was going to cut the tree down, but then I just remembered I saw the wire. Wood, even. Actually. Do I have any, what do you call it? Okay, I've got some iron. I can make an iron. Yeah, I'll make two. So now the time has come that I want to. Maybe not yet. I've just realised the text on Minecraft is a little weird looking. Sorry if it looks weird like that. I've only just realised. Hey, as long as you can see me play the game, then who cares? Wait, what? I thought I already had that achievement. But now the time has actually came to where I want to dig into this hill thing and find out where all the zombies and skeletons and all that kept. Ooh, getting there probably. Okay, they're on this side apparently. Come on, dude, for real? Where is it coming from? Up then? Okay, normally I go around about here. So let's try it here then. Ooh. Is that cobblestone? No, andesite. Oh, I can't pick him up. Nice. Are they up? Ooh. Ah, flipping hell. I have to be down, surely. Where the hell are they? Okay, you know what? Screw that. I'm just gonna eat some meat. That's it. Bye. No, I'm joking. Obviously not. Yeah, for real though, I don't know what to do. I don't want to go too far, because I will definitely lose my items. Let me check. Will I actually lose them, or, like... I actually don't know. I'm just gonna, you know, die. Nothing much. I do lose all my items and my XP. Damn it. Jesus Christ, calm down. Bloody hell, when you die you get punished bad. Look how spread out they are. You know what? Actually, no. Let's play the 360 version of Minecraft. Because I miss playing that. So let's get you up. Turn you on. Great, my Xbox isn't even plugged in. Because I think it got unplugged when I was moving my desk and sorting out this gaming keyboard and mouse. Great. Wait, what? Where's the power supply for it? Is this it? Yes. What's this connected to, actually? That's the Raspberry Pi. What's this connected to then? Old Xbox? Computer? Yep, figured out what it's connected to. You turn me on, and let me sign into Xbox real quick. Who the hell is that? Oh wait, I can't at the minute. Hold on, my speakers is in the way. Controller. Oh, it's up there, god damn it. Guaranteed my Xbox 360 is already signed in and everything already. Much quicker. Flipping hell. And boom, there we go. Any chat? No. Two people are watching, nobody's saying hello or anything. Talk, will ya? Come on. Don't be shy. I'm not gonna hurt ya. That's a good laugh, actually. I like that laugh. Right, let's go on to One Guide. Get the Xbox 360 controller and boom, boom. I swear. There we go. Hey, what? Oh, what? But it... What? Hold on a minute. Might be a glitch. Hold on. Ah, it is a glitch. Yeah. It definitely is a glitch. Yeah, it's definitely a glitch. Hold on a minute. System update on the Xbox. Oh, download an update from Xbox. Okay, here we go. Ah, now you can see it. Perfect. What? No, you can't. Whoa, I can feel the CD moving inside the Xbox. Okay, hold on a minute. Let me... Yes! Please tell me it's just going to work normally now. You little flippin'. And plug back in. No, it shouldn't be lost. It shouldn't. Connection should not be lost. Now, bloody work. Dude, for real? Come on. Is this on the computer? Yeah. Where's my There it is. The system update is available. Do you want? There we go. Okay, when this is done, it should work like normal, hopefully. You flippin'. Screw it, I'm gonna put it in the middle. No, I can't, because it's just about too big. Is this through the computer? No, it's not. If I go back to the PC, watch. Your connection is lost. Let's do that. Try this. Oh, you. Come on, for real? I want to use my computer at the same time. Pringles, because I'm a real gamer. I'm watching the live stream back. Pringles, because I'm a real gamer. Pringles, because I'm dead inside. Du, 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 du. No, screw it. Whilst we're waiting. Let's see how the cameras are doing. If I sit up, let's push it a smidge bit more down and yeah, it seems alright. You fucking wires! Wires! Wires? More like, haha, shut it. Legit, I shouldn't even be awake right now, and I am making a lot of noise. I am fully aware of that. I'm also fully aware it's 2:29 in the morning. Yeah. Surely it has to be done now, right? Now, if I go back onto here, should be working, right? Right. Let's do that one. I'm just hoping it won't lag or anything like it normally does. I've missed this. I always love playing on the 360. Yeah, number 2 should have been alright on the camera. It Chapter 2 bonus. Ooh. Oh, I love it. But I ain't gonna watch it, because I ain't gonna get copyrighted. Bohemian Rhapsody? That better be on here. You are kidding me. Bohemian Rhapsody is not on here? How dare you? Like, for real. There you go, got me ear popped. Trying to pop me ear, but hey, Sid and Jude, what the hell is that? Good Boys, heard of. Yeats. Hey Jude, don't be so sad. Take a sad song and make it better. I sound like an older version of Paul McCartney. Remember to let her into your heart, then you can start to make it better. I'm sorry. God, I love Xbox. Oh my god, it even has little eyelashes, which I never noticed until now. I remember for years looking at the widescreen HD. Ooh, what's this? No. What's RGB? Literally no difference. For you guys, it won't be much. Okay. Alright, no different. 480p. Shut up on a HD thing. Oh my god. Yo, Xbox needs these options again. Legit. Well done, Xbox. Oh, that is the resolution I'd always used to have on this Xbox right here. Before switching over to HDMI. Yes, Come on then, do it. Right, now I need to change it to 60 Hz again. If I remember how to do that. Ooh. Voice. Oh yeah, it has to be on here then. What? What about if I have that? How do I change it to 60 Hz? It's been ages since I've done that. Oh wow. Oh, hold on. Yeah, bedroom. Oh, it doesn't have that. This computer doesn't have media center. My old computer does. Storage 0 to nothing. 0 to nothing. That's how hardly I play this game. Xbox. If I remember rightly, Craft will say that I need to put it at 60 Hz. One. Okay. $14. I have to. I don't even like Halo, but I just have to load this world. Oh. Yeah. I remember this world very well. Yeah, you can get hurt. There should be a huge dip. I remember. Why do I have no hot bathing? What the hell? Ah, oh, I remember that. I remember coming over here. Oh, I wish I could live stream back then. Trust me, my friends used to pee me off in this world. and they used to love doing it because they knew that I was really bad at Minecraft. I remember I could use to fly as well, going to creative as well. But yeah. Oh, look how quick he's... Look how quick you swim in this version. Jesus Christ. I remember this world so well. I really do. I remember running around trying to get away from my friends. They always used to keep killing me, and lovely, lovely memories. Because I knew if it made them laugh, then I'm doing something right, clearly. Luke, Elliot, if you ever watch this, please join back on this world. Dude, like for real. Like, not even joking, I remember this world so well. What we used to do. Especially at the beginning part, where that massive dip, I called it, was. I have to go on this world. I have to. Yeah, you can still hear me good. Oh, you ball sack. Ew. You nutty wutty hutcase, that's it. I remember this world. There should be a train track. That's another thing I remember. I remember that you used to be able to go inside this place. Oh yes. I remember this. These doors are fake. They are fake. Oh, they're paintings. Sorry. Put it as a door. Screw it. I'm gonna check out all these worlds now. I have to. Oh. Okay. If this is The Nightmare Before Christmas, why does it look more Halloween themed? That took me a while to say because I've got a cough. I need to get a drink. Hold on. I'll be right back. Having a drink definitely helped. I'm just watching that pig because I know the exact timeline I came back. It should turn around the other way now. Yeah. Same pig. Thought so. Screw you. I love these worlds because they're old and nostalgic. Look how quick you swim. Why don't they do that in newer versions? Come on. No, I'm only going to go to the ones that I actually remember. Halo Halloween 2015. Let's give that a try. Okay, I guess. Oh. Is there no sound in this game or something? Like, what the hell? Huh? What the hell? Fairly good. Okay. I want to try something. Hold on a minute. Does YouTube still work on here? Best way to get further down if you can't reach them. Put your mouth on here, or use this if you can. Taste a little bit of paper, but nothing much. And then just start ripping. In like a circle motion thing. And then if this bit's in the way, just rip it off. Put it to one side. YouTube has to work. No, I don't believe it. Oh, shouted it. Ah. Not really much to do on here anymore. A lot of the stuff sadly doesn't work. Hold on a minute, I am going to let it load. Since YouTube won't load, let's see if it will load on this. I have very loving and very hating memories of this. Can you play Flappy Bird on Xbox? On Xbox. On Xbox. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't know it would do that until I read it. Fudge. And the stream is only just starting to show it. Surely, come on. Even my old iPad from like 2013 can do this. Right, what can actually work then? Let's try. That is not how you spell it, but you know what? Screw it. There it is. Come on, surely. At least load. I don't care if I don't play it, at least load. I remember that, yeah. COD, Call of Duty, to the game. Going on Minecraft today. Whatever. Right. I want to see this small little dumb brain boy here, me, as in other words, wants to see what's in this Minecraft and what's not in this Minecraft. By the way, the Ian Harris 15 account is actually my Xbox One account. Secret Friday update. Ooh. But it's not Friday, it's Sunday. I know I'm stuffing my face, but I'm hungry. And I'm craving something that isn't sweet and chocolatey. Like meat or whatever. Just anything other than chocolate. What save option? Upload save of Xbox One. Upload save of Xbox One. Is that hair? Wow. To build anything you can imagine at night, monsters come out, so make sure to build out. Fudge. The shelter before that happens. Oh, I remember this map so beautifully. Come on, there's stuff over there. Yes, I'm looking up and down. Ooh. This new swimming feature wasn't added when I last played this map. I'm the bad guy. Do 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 do. I don't know the full song, and I don't really want to know the full song. Michael. Oh my god, sorry. You stupid boy, Ian. You flipping idiot. my god, whatever. I'm annoyed. There we go, finally. 1, 2. I wonder if you can still do some glitches on here that used to be on this version but aren't now. Makes sense. Alright. Die.
Hello there, my name is Rob Jobs, founder and CEO of Apple, and today I'm here to announce our newest product, the AirPods. Our design team here at Apple has spent endless hours formulating and constructing the world's leading technology for in-ear listening. And as you can see, the AirPods fit seamlessly perfect into your ear, leaving no room for them to fall out. Here at Apple, we believe in the convenient of wireless feature, which is why we created the AirPower wireless charging pack. You have to power and charge with the cable, but the concept is there, okay? Because you don't have to touch it to charge it, you just set it down, but you can't use the device while it's charging because it doesn't have, it's not, meaning you should probably just plug in your device, but whatever. The concept is, and the AirPods are specifically designed for you to lose them within the first 2 weeks of purchasing, forcing you to come back into the store and buy another pair. And that is why, my friends, we are so profitable. I mean, just look at the size of these. Where are my AirPods at? And it doesn't help that we're filming in this white room. I can't even see. Let's take a second to talk about the sound quality. And I know what everyone's thinking. The Bose sound sports are better. The AirPods don't compare to the sound quality of the state-of-the-art sound of the brand. Literally, fuck that noise. We developed the best mediocre sound in the game. And the new AirPods are showing that. Huh? There's a new version out? That was fast. Okay. I am so proud to announce the new and slightly improved AirPod Pros. Really? It does kind of look like that, but come on, guys. Next line. Okay, we are being serious here. Get it together. Yes, finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. Introducing the new AirPods Pros. This time including features like noise cancellation and transparency mode, meaning you can listen to the outside world, because we all know how hard this is. Come on, it's 2020. Ain't nobody got time. We're saving energy here. Gosh, we're geniuses. AirPods. You're kidding me. I haven't even got to use the Pros yet. They're newer than this. These just came out. I present to you our most latest and greatest, brand newest product. The Apple AirPods Pros 3. X, Max. Pro. XR. Lite. 3, 2, 1. Mini. V2. Including new features like atomic hearing, audio holograms, mind reading, and my favorite, ear cleaning. Here at Apple, we strive to give you the best experience for the best price, which is why these are free after you buy them, with the starting price of only $800 for the case. And then the charger is $500, but the adapter is only $200. And then it's $1,300 for the actual AirPods, but considering the perks and the features that it has, it makes sense. And we're Apple, okay? So, you'll buy it. We can legit slap a logo on a Q-tip and y'all will buy it. It's crazy. And we can do whatever we want over here. And I'm rich. Because I am like richer than you will ever, you can't even imagine being how rich I am. Okay, it's giveaway time. Look at the screen. It's black, meaning you can see your reflection, right? Look at yourself. Are you watching this video with AirPods in? No? Damn, you're probably broke. But don't worry, I am here to save the day. If you want a pair of AirPods, actually the new AirPod Pros, all you gotta do is like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram at Rob Lopez, and DM me saying you want the AirPods. And that's it. Happy New Year's. New videos coming really soon. Let's get it. 3 years? I don't know, dude. Follow the time. Oh, and also, if you want to text me, here's my number. It's on the screen. Let's be friends.
Wait, for real?
We're almost at 1 million, so we're on to 1 million. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Is that actually the real number? But yeah, that's pretty much what Apple is like. You got it pretty much spot on. Flipping Apple. I know I've got an Apple iPhone, iPhone 4, 5, 6, 6S Plus, iPads, iPad cases. I know I've got all that, but first person PC build guide. Ooh, okay, that might be handy for a lot of people. He's an ugly looking man, that's my opinion. Have we seen
Number
this one?
15, A Frozen Maiden.
Why my voice is? I could do this. Number 15. I was barely trying.
One of the strangest and scariest discoveries.
What's this?
Number 15, Route 61 Discovery near Schuylkill Haven in Pennsylvania.
Seen that one. I need to make sensitivity on here a bit more sensitive. Hold on a minute. Now settings. The default is free. So let's put it up to like it's Mach 100. 100 times a second. One. What the hell? I'm gonna leave it on its default, which is free. What's this
Number
one?
15, Possessed Woman. Not long ago, a video went viral of a man acting strangely in a convenience store. As he fell to the ground and tugged at his shirt, he seemed possessed. It turns out this wasn't the first video of its kind. A similar video featuring a woman was released in June 2016. The CCTV footage shows a woman casually shopping down the aisles of what seems to be a clothing store. She approached a few items on the shelves before dropping everything and shaking uncontrollably. She seems to be exhibiting the behaviors of someone having a seizure, but she's also screaming and making very deep growls.
Oh my god.
A man approaches her to see if she's okay as others watch in disbelief. She screams loudly and throws her head back and startles everyone. The man helping her even falls down. Her behavior gets worse as she continues to scream and convulse.
Poor lady.
Eventually, the group of people calm her down enough to pick her up and walk off camera. Number 14, Brian Schaefer. It's uncommon for college students to visit bars. Most students get together on weekends or after classes to have a few drinks and unwind or even discuss school. However, it is very uncommon for a student to disappear in a bar. The story of Brian Schaefer starts out as your everyday college student's visit to a bar and turns into something out of a sci-fi murder mystery. Schaefer planned a spring break getaway with his longtime girlfriend Alexis Wagner. He had purchased a hotel room in Miami and his friends claimed he planned to propose. However, about 3 days before the couple were set to head out on their romantic vacation, Brian vanished. He and his friends went to a live music bar called the Ugly Tuna. They had several drinks and shots. He and his friends went to the bathroom and when they returned, Brian was gone. They asked around, but no one had valid information. His friends assumed he just left early and no one noticed, so they also left. When investigators were alerted because family and friends had still yet to hear from Brian, they found out he had not left the bar. He was seen entering the bar with friends on camera, and he was seen standing outside the entrance before going back in and never being seen again.
They stepped on the escalator with Brian in front. As they went up the escalator, Brian turned to look back at Meredith and Clint. and they were laughing and joking and obviously having a good time. This is the area where Brian was last seen. To my right, he was seen on camera speaking with two young ladies that he'd met inside the bar. After speaking with the young ladies, he turned and walked back into the bar, at which time we lost him on camera.
No cameras found Brian exiting the bar or the complex which the bar was located inside. There are, of course, other explanations for him not being seen on camera, but he was never seen again, and some claim that even if he escaped the cameras at the complex, he would have been caught on nearby street and parking lot cameras at least. Brian Schaefer was never heard from or seen again. His family has faith that he will return home someday, as there was never a body or signs of struggle discovered. However, there has been very little evidence found since his disappearance in 2006. Number 13, Jennifer Kesey. This young 24-year-old woman went missing in January of 2006. She was last seen the night before her disappearance, leaving her place of employment. Before vanishing, she had made casual phone calls to family and friends, as she had just returned home from a vacation. Her last phone call was to her boyfriend around 10 p.m. According to him, she seemed normal and not in any danger. The next morning, she failed to arrive to work or answer her phone for several hours. Her manager called her parents to alert them that they had not heard from her. Jennifer's parents immediately drove 2 hours to Jennifer's condo to find that she had been home that morning, but there were no sign of forced entry or struggle. Jennifer's family spent the day searching for their daughter and looking for any evidence of a struggle. Investigators got involved, and 2 days later an unidentified person was seen by an apartment surveillance system parking Jennifer's car and leaving it. The car was picked up by local police and sent to a crime lab. The person seen leaving the car became the strongest lead in the case, which isn't good news considering his face can't be seen on the footage. The CCTV camera that caught him up close was the type that takes snapshots every few seconds, rather than recording video footage. In every single frame, his face is hidden by a bar or fencing. This piece of evidence does, however, confirm that foul play was involved in her disappearance. Numerous valuables left in Jennifer's car led investigators to believe that robbery was not the motive of this crime. A search dog tracked the scent from Jennifer's car back to her condo, which makes it seem like either she or the suspect returned to the condo after the car was dropped off. The FBI and NASA assisted in the investigation by enhancing the images and identifying possible details about the person's identity. The only useful facts determined were that the suspect was a young male about 5'3". Jennifer's condo had been undergoing renovations, which led construction workers to be on site nearly 24/7. She had complained to family that the workers would harass and catcall her, but further investigation of the construction workers turned up no new evidence, and none of the men seemed to match the body type of the person who dropped the car. More importantly, these men were illegal immigrants, and if one had quit work between the time of her disappearance and the time of the investigation, there would be little to no way of tracking them down. Jennifer has been missing with no new evidence in her case for over 10 years now. Journalists that have reviewed the CCTV footage name this man the luckiest person of interest ever. Number 12, Goblin. While the creature in the CCTV footage has been called a goblin or gnome, it's not certain what we're seeing. This outside surveillance camera caught the small creature walking up and walking off camera to not return. It seems to walk on two legs like a human, but has very jagged movements as if it's hurt. There also appears to be what could be a mane, or for paranormal enthusiasts, maybe some sort of clothing. The creature does have a tail that looks like it matches the mane-like region though. Some viewers have even claimed that they see small horns on top of the creature. Regardless of what you believe this is, it's unlike most animals we've seen, especially in residential areas. Number 11, Stairway Ghost. This footage shows a woman who appears to be walking down a stairwell of some building. As she walks slowly downward, she stops in her tracks and seems to fall against the wall in fear. She quickly turns around and runs back up the stairs out of the camera's view. When reviewing the video, you can see the door at the bottom of the stairs seems to fling open and a dark shadowy apparition comes through the doorway.
Oh,
The dark,
yeah.
ghostly figure seems to be masculine, and it runs towards the woman but vanishes midway up the stairs.
Must be terrifying.
Number 10, Woman Attacked by Ghost. This footage allegedly comes from the reception hall of a haunted hotel, although the exact name or location of the hotel is not published. The woman seated in the room seems to be waiting for someone as she's just hanging out and fiddling with her cell phone. As the woman sits in silence, a chair behind her moves slightly and startles her. She looks behind her, probably expecting to see a person. When she realizes that there's no one in the room, she returns to messing with her phone, although she does seem on edge. The chair moves again, scaring her to the point that she literally sits at the edge of her seat and makes a phone call. Uncertain who she's calling, maybe just someone to distract her from the tension in the room. While on the phone, the chair to the left of her lunges forward and she jumps out of her seat and falls down a few feet away. She stands up and tries to run out of the room, but a table is thrown, which trips her, and she is then attacked by the poltergeist. Her hair is pulled again and she is thrown across the room before tripping again and hitting her head on the tile flooring.
Then she passes
She
out.
appears to be unconscious as a few pieces of furniture continue to move by themselves in the room. Without knowing the exact location of this, we can't know if this was a common occurrence, and while the original video claims that this woman died from a head injury, there's no proof, and she could have likely walked away from this with nothing more than emotional scarring. Number 9. Beijing Tiger Attack. This video comes from a security camera on the grounds of Beijing's Badaling Wildlife Park. In mid-July, a husband, his wife, and her mother were driving through the park on a day out. Things took a dark turn when the husband and wife got into an argument and the wife exited the vehicle to get away from the situation. She came around to the driver's side, possibly to speak with her husband more, and mere seconds later a large tiger grabs her by the legs and drags her away. Her husband immediately chases after them. The woman's mother also exits the vehicle and a wildlife jeep can be seen driving up, probably to help in this tragedy. The woman's mother was mauled by the tiger and died on the scene, and she was badly injured and rushed to a local hospital. The park commented that they do allow visitors to drive their own cars through the park, but they are absolutely prohibited from exiting their vehicles. The story is tragic and terrifying. It serves as a good reminder to follow the rules when it comes to wildlife. Number 8. Elevator Ghost. This terrifying video was posted in 2009 and is timestamped from 2008. It's not certain where this video is from, but it's clearly CCTV footage from the elevators, halls, and stairwells of some kind of office building. In the bottom right corner, we see the surveillance from inside an elevator. Two office employees are just casually chatting as they ride to their destination. Everything seems normal until the doors open and the two men go to exit, as the man on the left who had been leaning against the wall lifts up and walks out. A figure seems to appear out of nowhere. There was nowhere this figure could have been hiding or standing, as the man was clearly touching the wall while leaning against it. The apparition resembles an elderly, decrepit man or woman who moves slowly towards the door. It even appears to walk outward, although it isn't certain. The ghost never looks up towards the camera and is never seen on the other screens. Number 7. Child held hostage. This Walmart surveillance camera caught a very terrifying hostage situation which ended with gunshots. In June 2013, Sammy Wallace was seen on the surveillance system walking into the Midwest City, Oklahoma local Walmart. He grabbed a shopping cart and walked around aimlessly while talking on the phone. Wallace passed Alicia Keating and her two daughters several times before he came back around and snatched her younger 2-year-old daughter out of the shopping cart. He handed a phone to Alicia and told her to call a police officer in Dallas. Alicia was distraught though and just began screaming for Wallace to give her daughter back. That was when he pulled a large knife out of his pants and put it to the girl's stomach. Employees approached the situation and witnesses called 911. As the Walmart was located directly across the street from the police department, officers were on the scene within literal seconds. Chief Plapes said that the police negotiated with Wallace for nearly 2 hours. trying to get him to release the toddler. Officers eventually contacted the police officer in Dallas, Texas that Wallace had been trying to contact. The officer claimed that Wallace had been harassing him, but for what was never explained. Towards the end of the tense situation, Claves convinced Wallace to have a seat. The toddler began to fuss as she had been calm throughout most of the standoff. As she began to squirm, Wallace squeezed her and moved the knife from her stomach to her neck. Claves claimed that Wallace then began to say things about a satanic cult and started to count down from 60. Nearby Captain Huff was certain that Wallace was counting down to kill the toddler, or that he had already injured her by squeezing her or making contact with her neck and the blade. Huff shot Wallace in the head and he died instantly.
Wallace then moves the knife up to the girl's neck, and while another officer out of view distracts him, Huff lunges forward, shooting and killing Wallace.
He made sure he was at point blank range so that there was no ability to harm that child. And of course, there's always that chance.
After the situation, Wallace's family claimed that he had been in prison for 11 years and just moved to Oklahoma because he allegedly saw things in his old apartment. He had a history of mental illness and was apparently not seeking proper care. The most terrifying part of this footage is considering having your child or sibling grabbed up in Walmart. There was no method to Wallace choosing this child. She was just a child, which he knew is what he needed. Something like this is sure to make you hold your children a little closer.
Hey, if that was me, I'd knock him out. I would knock the guy out before he could pull out a gun or a knife or anything dangerous.
Number 6, Creepy Intruder. In June 2015, a mother of 2 set up a CCTV camera above her back door. For several days, she had found scratches around the doorknob and hinge of the door. What she originally thought was some type of animal ended up being something every mother fears. One morning, she awoke to find that her back gate had been left open and a blade of some sort had been fashioned into a hook and used near the door lock. She reviewed the CCTV footage to find a terrifying man covering his face with a hoodie and carrying a torch. He shined the torch into the kitchen window to ensure no one was awake and then proceeded to try and pry the door open. As if seeing something like this isn't scary enough, realizing that it's been going on for days is probably a much worse feeling. Lisa, the mother involved, explained that as she watched the footage, she shook uncontrollably. Her children were asleep upstairs and the thought of someone breaking in for what little she had terrified her. After the incident, police patrolled the neighborhood in hopes of finding the potential robber, but further information on the case was never released.
Well, it's a good thing I struggle to sleep, even though it's bad for my health. Very, very bad. I can see outside the front garden, so I can see everything outside. So if someone tries to walk up and try and break in. 1, we have deadbolts. 2, we have a chain. 3, we have a security camera. But stuff at the back, like we've got a gate with a door that can open. Yeah, not really the safest idea. But yeah, we've got a lot of security and stuff, and especially me staying awake. I could warn my mum, let me know that. What? Let my mum know that there's someone at the door trying to open the door, break in, blah blah blah, you know, stuff like that. Call 911, the police, all that sort of stuff. Actually, let me check. We keep the lights on downstairs to make it look like we're awake, so be right back. Nasty people. Nasty. Disgusting, filthy, horrible dickheads that shouldn't even be alive in this world if they're going to act the way they do.
Number 5, children kidnapped in Pakistan. This CCTV footage comes from Lahore, Pakistan, and while the footage shown is disturbing, the story behind this ongoing tragedy makes it 10 times worse.
That's
In the
cruel.
region of Punjab in India, from 2011 to 2016, over 7,000 children were abducted. This trend of abductions has spread throughout India and now has moved into Pakistan with over 300 abductions in only the last month. It is understood that they are forced into drug use, drug sales, prostitution, begging, and worst of all, some are found dead with organs such as kidneys, hearts, and eyes missing. A large majority of these children are also brainwashed into becoming suicide bombers for forces in Pakistan. Many complain that the Pakistani police and Dolphin forces are not helping to curb the high rates of crime and are also little to no help in these kidnapping cases. The kidnappers either do this by choice or by hire. They drive large white vans where they snatch up multiple children in a single day. They also began wearing burqas in public to hide better and communicate with drivers. This footage of children being grabbed from right beside their parents is truly chilling, but the fact these parents know the horrible fate their children face once they're grabbed up makes this a pure nightmare. Again, seeing something like this will make you keep a much tighter grip on your children.
What? Are you for real? That was her children. Are you joking me? What a sick person. What sick people. Okay. That's disgusting. That is filthy. That needs to be sorted out. That definitely needs to be sorted out. Even the police are not even helping them. Like, what the hell? Why? I mean, if people are complaining about it, then the police should know. That's really stupid. Really, really, really stupid.
Just the thought of how easily things like this can happen is enough to affect anyone with kids. Number 4, Lars Matank. In July of 2014, 28-year-old Lars Matank went on vacation with friends to Golden Sands in Bulgaria, a popular spot for German and English youth. While drinking and hanging out on the beach, Lars got into a dispute which escalated to a physical fight. This fight damaged his eardrum, which meant that he was not able to take a flight home with his friends, and had to wait an extra night alone. Staying at a local hotel, Lars made calls to his mother claiming that he believed someone or something was after him. He seemed scared, disorientated, and would end every phone call by just abruptly hanging up. He apparently told her that 4 men had been following him and asking about his medication, a 500 milligram antibiotic, and that he was currently hiding outside of the hotel. Lars did visit the doctor the next day to get a checkup before taking his flight home. Apparently though, he abruptly ran out of the doctor's office. The CCTV footage from the airport is the last time Lars was seen before disappearing into a nearby forest. He seems normal until he enters a corridor. He then drops all of his belongings and bolts out of the airport. He can be seen on outside security footage running off camera. Witnesses say they saw Lars jump a large chain link fence and run into the forest. He was never seen or heard from again. He may have gotten lost in the woods, and search parties have found no evidence inside the wooded area. While Lars had no history of mental illness, it is possible that the injury he suffered could have been more severe than the doctors originally diagnosed. Severe head injury can lead to psychosis, which seems to be what has likely happened here. There are of course more explanations, such as Lars abusing more recreational drugs. A huge symptom of injury-induced psychosis, though, is paranoia, which Lars demonstrated completely. There are several search parties and people that you can contact if you're interested in learning more or helping with the disappearance of Lars Matank. Number 3. John P. Wheeler. This 66-year-old man was known for holding many prestigious places in government systems. Some of his titles throughout his lifetime include Chairman of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund, Senior Planner of Amtrak, Chief Executive and CEO of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, Consultant to the Mateer Corporation, and a presidential aide to Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, and George W. Bush administrations. He was, of course, more well known for his positions in the presidential administrations. His death was a mysterious and dark tale that had many missing pieces which kept the public guessing. Those who kept up with the news of his death in December 2010 admit they still look for new evidence to pop up from time to time. While his cause of death was deemed a homicide by assault with blunt force trauma, there's still plenty of questions surrounding the case that have yet to be answered. As the story goes, Wheeler was seen the night before his death. He was wandering around a parking garage looking for his car or a place to stay warm. This disturbing CCTV footage shows Wheeler before his death. He's clearly acting bizarre, having trouble walking and speaking. He seems drunk or under the influence, but those who came across him that day claimed he seemed more disorientated and lost than drunk or high. Psychiatrists have claimed that behavior like this can be caused by heart problems, extreme stress or fear, but that it didn't seem likely for Wheeler to have these issues out of nowhere, as he had no history of health-related psychosis. As Wheeler walks down a corridor in the building, he touches many things, looks around him several times, closes a door, raises his hands into the air, and appears to be talking to himself. These are all general signs of paranoia and a lack of contact with reality. On December 31st, his body was discovered falling onto a trash heap in the Cherry Island landfill. It's uncertain where he had been picked up, but it was likely from a commercial dumpster, as there were several such stops on the truck's route. The medical examiner said that his official cause of death was blunt force trauma, but a weapon or exact cause was never determined. There are various theories to this, and those that have an interest in government conspiracy theories believe that in the footage, Wheeler had been drugged for whatever reason and then killed to keep government secrets hidden. There were no drugs found in Wheeler's system, however they could have been cleansed from his system before he died. No matter what you believe, this story is shocking, and the fact these empty spaces will probably never be filled is frustrating and unsettling. Number 2. Nicholas White. Any viewers with claustrophobia are sure to get a panic out of this one. The CCTV footage was collected from the McGraw-Hill building in New York City. Around 11 o'clock on a Friday night in early October 1999, Nicholas White left his office to take a quick smoke break before packing up and heading home. White returned to the elevator to head back up to the 43rd floor. The elevator took off quickly, but after merely a few seconds it stopped abruptly. The lights went out before flickering back on. No buttons or emergency calls in the elevator would respond, and White soon realized he was trapped. White rang the alarm bell several times and even broke the button so it ran continuously, but apparently it was never heard. After hours of sitting calmly, he began to pry open the elevator doors but was faced with a cement wall that said 13, meaning he was on the 13th floor where the elevator had no stops, as it was an express elevator for the 39th floor and up. He smoked a cigarette in hopes the workers would smell the smoke, but nothing seemed to work. It was a Friday night and no one would be back until Monday or so. Nicholas tried everything. He jumped towards the escape hatch but found it was locked. He lit matches. He even urinated down the elevator shaft in hopes the scent or liquid would alert someone or something. He mostly slept and went through his wallet. He was finally released Monday morning after 41 hours of agonizing boredom. As soon as the doors opened, he bolted out and explained what had happened. While his calmness is admirable, it's safe to say that most people would not have handled this situation as well. 41 hours of isolation could easily lead a person towards insanity, and no food or water for that long is plenty enough to cause illness or dehydration. Number 1. Chip Chan. This story has been shared several times throughout the years, and it never becomes any less disturbing. Considering that this is still an ongoing viral internet sensation is even more unsettling. Chip Chan is a woman who broadcasts herself live from her home via CCTV cameras and webcams. The first person to discover her thought she was dead, as she laid perfectly still in an uncomfortable position for hours. He took the story to 4chan to get help in deciding if she was really dead and if so, how she died. Tons of users flocked to her broadcast and began putting clues of her death together before she rose up to life and hid behind signs she had made. Through years of broadcast, Tumblr posts, and her signs, her addicted viewers have learned a few things about her. She lives in South Korea. When she does leave her home, which is rarely, she wears a disguise. She sleeps up to 12 or more hours a day, usually inside a filing cabinet, and while she spends most of her waking hours on the internet, she seems to be suffering from depression as she rarely smiles and often cries. According to her signs, she claimed that she had been held against her will for 16 years by someone she calls P. She claims that P is a corrupt officer that has planted a chip in her ankle which tracks her and her health. Occasionally, Chip Chan's cameras will go off for up to several hours, which is apparently when P comes to visit according to her blog, linked below. Some of her signs read, "Don't get tricked, don't get fooled, early every morning. If someone comes that paralyzes the person, I can't be stopped. The stalker used this skill from 2006. I have slept for 20 hours every day since then. I do not know what happened while I sleep. I have been always afraid of sleeping." These are of course rough translations. When she leaves her home, she has a setup of boxes that cover her doorway as she exits. When she sleeps, her lights will flicker on and off by themselves as if controlled by an outside source. A huge plot hole with Chip Chan's story is that she disables the cameras when P arrives, and won't release his name or officer rank, even though she clearly wants to be helped. When emailing Chip Chan, an auto-response of photos of police officers is sent. Most of the photos are blurry and seem to have been taken by Chip Chan. When local authorities were contacted regarding Chip Chan, they said she is a mentally ill woman who would often protest against police forces in China Central Television. It's very likely that this woman is just suffering from a severe form of paranoid schizophrenia, but there are
Well, in a minute, I've lost that little black thing. I don't know where it's gone. Duh. There it is. Ow, my leg. Ow, my leg. Oh, my leg. Well, why is she doing this, then? Why is she doing this? I don't understand.
There are plenty of viewers that believe her story and are committed to helping her. It's uncertain what the creepiest part of this is. Is it Chip Chan, the mentally ill or possibly kidnapped woman? Or is it the millions of viewers obsessed with watching her doing nothing but sleep and cry? Thanks for checking out this countdown. Be sure to subscribe as we upload new videos every week. It'd really mean a lot if you join the notification squad by clicking this gear button, checking this box, and then clicking save. See ya.
See ya. I'm an old TV.
Number 15. I was driving home for the weekend from school at Indiana University. It takes me about 2 hours to get home, and I left Bloomington around 10 p.m. At exactly 10:53, I am on the rural stretch of the two-lane highway I take home, and I notice what appeared to be flashing lights behind me. I thought, great, I'm getting pulled over, so I turned onto the next country road about a quarter mile from where I noticed the lights. As the car came to a stop and I started to open my glove box to get out my registration and proof of insurance, the lights suddenly disappeared and no car drove past. Now here's where the story takes a turn for the weird, and I'm sure you guys will think I'm just making it all up because it really does seem like something straight out of a typical UFO horror movie or story. The electronics in my car started to go haywire. The radio was randomly changing stations while the volume kept going up or down while the dome light and headlights started to flicker.
Number 15.
Stop.
My wife.
Stop. I don't want to watch stories.
Big thanks to Rob Dyke for joining me in narrating.
Oh, this guy.
Just like that. One moment you're here, the next you're dead. And a victim's only hope is that somehow their death is known, solved, without any questions lingering behind for their friends and loved ones, and for the one who may be responsible for their death to pay. Chills from Top 15s joins me for this episode of Twisted Tens, where we discuss 10 horrifying unsolved deaths. What you're about to see may disturb you.
Not me. But yeah. Top 15s.
The name itself inspires some rather gruesome thoughts. The Cleveland Torso Murderer got their name for the victims they killed and dismembered in the 1930s in Cleveland, Ohio. The exact number of victims isn't known, but it is said to be between 12 and 20. The Cleveland Torso Murderer had a rather specific type of target, and they did well at preventing themselves from getting too much unwanted attention. Most of their victims were drifters who went unidentified even to this day. As drifters often had no personal connections to anyone else, they could easily be killed without any family or friends identifying them. This, coupled with the fact that their victims also came from lower class society, made the investigation even less likely to be fruitful. The Torso Murderer shrouded their actions in mystery with their grisly calling card of dismemberment. They would remove the limbs and head of their victims and would also at times cut the torsos in half and castrate their male prey. While many killers who dismember bodies do it after their victim dies, it was shown that the Torso Murderer had other tastes. The ones they chose to kill would die from the dismemberment itself, usually from a bloody and vicious beheading. All their victims died while filled with the worst type of fear and agony. Though some suspects were questioned, no indisputable evidence was ever found, and the Cleveland Torso Murderer lived out the rest of their days unidentified, much like so many of his victims.
Well, I hope whoever was doing it is paying in hell now.
This here is a modern-day Tylenol pill, but they didn't always look like this. At one point, they were made with capsules, much like this one, easily pulled apart and tampered with. And in Chicago in 1982, this very fact caused a lot of panic and a lot of death, because someone out there had utilized this exploit to lace Tylenol capsules with potassium cyanide, a lethal poison, and allowed people to purchase and ingest them. 7 people fell victim to the sinister tampering. The first victim was a 12-year-old girl named Mary Kellerman. That same day, another person died of the same poisoning. It wasn't even a week before investigators discovered the link between Johnson & Johnson, Tylenol's manufacturer, sent out grave warnings to halt production and advertising of the famous over-the-counter medicine. This was followed up promptly by a nationwide recall of Tylenol products, which ended up being around 31 million bottles, valued at over $100 million. Though 3 people were considered suspects, all 3 were ruled out. One man even admitted to the poisonings and attempted to extort the government into paying him to end the killings. When police discovered the man was a con artist with no connection to the murders, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison, for which he spent 13, and he has, for years, denied having any actual involvement in the murders. The tragedy
But it's his
ultimately
fault.
pushed manufacturers to produce tamper-resistant packaging such as plastic seals and to move away from capsules into the pills we all know today, unable to be opened and filled with anything we don't want in there. Johnson & Johnson was praised by the media for how they handled the crisis, but the one who caused it all is still unknown to this day.
Before Richard Ramirez became infamously known as the Night Stalker, there was another man who held that title and to this day is still known as the original Night Stalker and the East Area Rapist. Like Ramirez, this unidentified serial killer and rapist operated in California, both in the northern and southern parts of the state. Through 1979 to 1986, the East Area Rapist killed at least 12 people and raped over 50. Such large numbers make it hard to believe that police could never solve this case, but the case baffled them. It was originally believed that the East Area Rapist was two different people, a person raping women in the north and a man murdering people in the south, but due to DNA testing and a very distinctive modus operandi, police came to the strong belief that they were dealing with one man. The East Area Rapist is believed to have originated as a burglar, who eventually evolved into a serial rapist. He would break into homes at night, wake the occupants, who were oftentimes a man and a woman, and threaten them with a handgun. From there, he would force the woman to tie up the man, and then tie up the woman himself. He would stack dishes on top of the man's back and go about his business for sometimes hours, ransacking the house, eating food, and stealing property. He would tell the man that if he heard the dishes rattle for any reason, he would kill everyone in the house. At times, the victims would be unaware if their attacker was even still inside the house or not while they were bound, helpless on the floor. Eventually, the East Area Rapist would evolve yet again to murder, binding, raping, and bludgeoning or shooting his victims to death. As of June of 2016, police have announced a nationwide push to capture the original Night Stalker, with a $50,000 reward to whoever can lead to his arrest.
There was once a time in many societies where parents didn't feel the constant need to supervise their children. Kids would be free to run off down the street and play with friends far out of the sight of their guardians. But in Australian society, this mindset was shifted to a more healthily paranoid one, partly due to the mysterious case of the Beaumont children. The Beaumont children were three siblings, 2 girls and a boy. Jane, who was 9 years old, Arna, who was 7, and Grant, who was 4. The children lived with their parents in Somerton Park, a suburb of Adelaide. The children could often be found visiting a beachside resort that was conveniently located very close by. The children could have been considered very lucky to live in such close proximity to a paradise like that, able to spend their free time there having fun, and in those days, their parents didn't mind letting them hop on a bus and take a short 5-minute drive to the resort. The children left at 10 a.m. on January 26, 1966. They were told to be back by 2 p.m., and when 2 p.m. came around, the children were nowhere to be found, and the parents began to grow concerned. Soon 3 p.m. came, then 4. More and more worry overcame the parents as they tried to rationalize why their children were so late. But when the clock read 7:30 p.m., their parents had waited long enough and phoned the police, and an investigation that would rock the entire nation began. It was discovered that the last known sighting of the Beaumont children was by a postman who knew the children well, so his statement was treated as entirely reliable. He said that he witnessed the children having a good time as they walked down the main street, heading in the direction of their home. But they weren't alone. Several witnesses claimed to see the children with a tall blonde man believed to be in his mid-30s. Because Jane, the oldest, was incredibly shy of anyone she didn't know, her parents found it odd that she would be seen having a good time and laughing with a stranger. But then something clicked. A remark Arna had made sometime before. She told her mother that Jane had got a boyfriend down at the beach. Their mother believed this was simply another young child, but it's now believed that this tall blonde man had possibly met the children a number of times when they visited the resort, and they began to trust him to the point where he could lure them away. The Beaumont children remain missing to this day, their fates unknown, but many tips have been sent in over the years since their disappearance. The most recent tip perhaps is the most promising yet, reigniting the case as recently as January of 2016. Police believe this could end up as just another one of the many dead ends in the case, however, especially considering their current suspect has been dead for some time. Though investigators continue their efforts to crack the case, it's unknown if it'll ever be solved.
Let's hope it does. Number 6.
It was October 28, 1991. 911 dispatchers received a call from a payphone in Wheeling, Illinois from a man who spoke quickly and in a panicked tone. He told the dispatcher to send an ambulance to 1765 Stonehenge Court in Wheeling. He specified that the ambulance should be sent immediately. He went on to say that there was a woman in there who wasn't breathing and that she was turning blue. The operator tried to get the number the man was calling from, to which he replied, "It's a public phone," and then hung up, never to be heard from again. When police arrived at the address specified by the unknown caller, they discovered it was the apartment of 27-year-old exotic dancer Jamie Santos, who was inside on her bedroom floor dressed in a large tie-dye shirt and underwear. She was just about dead and was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. Jamie Santos died from suffocation. Something had been placed over her nose and mouth to prevent her breathing, but the apartment was neat and well organized. No sign of a struggle. Jamie Santos hadn't even been sexually assaulted. There were no drugs in her system. Jamie was known to be in shape as well and had a bit of a temper. She would have no qualms about fighting off an attacker, but there were no signs of her resisting. To this day, police only have the 911 recording to go off of, made from a payphone that was removed years ago.
The case of Angie Houseman is one that haunts those involved to this day over 2 decades later. A girl only in the 4th grade, innocent and trusting, was found dead, the work of a predator. But the death was anything but quick, anything but painless. And the way she died proved to countless people that some people are monstrous and should never be trusted. Angie Houseman was only 9 years old when she was on her way home from school in Missouri on November 18, 1993. It had been especially cold out as winter prepared to grip Angie's city of St. Louis, and in the cold air, Angie vanished. By the time that the first day had passed, family already knew something was terribly wrong, but they wouldn't see their daughter again for 9 days. But 2 days before Angie was discovered, a young boy known in the media only as David, also from the area, had attended a Thanksgiving get-together at a neighbor's home. It's here, in the midst of a football game and commercials, that Angie's picture flashed on the screen as the news made another attempt to get any sort of information on her whereabouts. David saw this, and after the news anchor's plea for information, he started to make the others at the party feel a little weird. When he claimed that he knew where they'd find Angie, he told them that he had a dream that told him where she was and that they would find her in the Bush Wildlife area, tied to a tree. None of the adults at the home seemed to be alarmed enough to phone police, but they absolutely should have. It was 2 days later when a hunter was stalking through a wooded area, the Bush Wildlife area, looking to hunt deer when he noticed an odd-looking tree, something peculiar about it. As he approached, he was horrified when he came to the realization that it was the body of 9-year-old Angie tied to the tree, just as David had said. She was covered in small pieces of ice. Angie had been tied to the tree and left to freeze to death, which she unfortunately had. But it was revealed that Angie had only just died a few hours before being discovered. 9 days missing, and she was discovered just hours too late. With devastated loved ones, police investigated every angle, questioning David as well, not believing his dream claims as much as they believed someone told him something. But David never budged from his claims that he had had a dream, his mother even claiming that their family had a history of predicting events through their dreams. Investigators determined that Angie had been starved raped, and tortured before her death, and was held at an unknown location for around a week before she was left to die out in the cold with duct tape wrapped around her mouth and eyes and handcuffs on her wrists. There have been plenty of leads throughout the years, confessions and all, but nothing has checked out to solve this horrific murder, though investigators, now much older, continue to search for anything that could bring justice to the death of Angie Houseman.
One of the most bizarre crimes ever committed was that of the murder of Blair Adams. Blair was a 31-year-old man from Canada who, according to friends and relatives, began acting very bizarre only days before his demise. He had become paranoid, claiming that people were trying to kill him. When friends wanted to help Blair and asked for more information, he claimed that he didn't think he should talk about it and never told anyone exactly why he felt his life was in danger. On July 5th, 1996, Blair withdrew all of his money out of his savings account, grabbed thousands of dollars worth of his jewelry, gold, and other precious items, and drove to the Canadian-American border. Due to the amount of money he had on him, he made the Border Patrol suspicious and they denied him access to the United States. Because of the amount of money he had on him and the fact he was a single man, he fit the profile of someone attempting to traffic drugs. Blair turned around and went home, but the next day arrived at work, requested payment and quit his job, and then purchased a round-trip ticket to Germany. But he would never go to Germany. A short time later, he turned in his tickets, rented a car, and attempted to cross the border again, this time succeeding and heading into Seattle, Washington. From there, he purchased a round-trip ticket to Washington, D.C. and flew there. He rent another car and drive to Knoxville, Tennessee. This puzzled investigators, as it made no sense for him to fly past Tennessee just to drive back to it. There was also nothing to indicate that Blair knew anyone in either of these areas. While in Knoxville, Blair stopped at a gas station and then complained to the attendant that his car wouldn't start. The attendant determined that he had the wrong keys and that he wouldn't be able to start the car. It's unknown how Blair drove there to begin with. The attendant noted how paranoid Blair was. Even though he was the only one in the gas station, he kept looking around as if someone was going to jump out at any moment. Blair was able to find a ride to a nearby hotel where he continuously entered and exited the lobby for about an hour before finally purchasing a room. Once he received his key at around 7:37 p.m. that night, Blair walked out of the lobby and outside one final time. That was the last time he was seen alive. 12 hours later, Blair's body was found, naked from the waist down, and his shirt was ripped open. Investigators determined that his pants had been taken off of him and that he didn't do it himself. His body was covered in cuts and abrasions, as if he had been fending off an attack. Eventually, Blair sustained a violent blow to his stomach, causing it to rupture, and he died as a result. Perhaps most strange of all was that $4,000 worth of American, Canadian, and German currency, as well as his jewelry and gold, were scattered around his body at the scene. To this day, this case dumbfounds investigators, who have no idea who Blair was running from or to.
A young girl having innocent fun in the playground right behind her home. Her mother inside preparing lunch while she ran around with the other children. Rachel Runyon was only 3 years old and no adults were present to watch her or the others on August 26, 1982. Well, there was one adult, but it wasn't the kind that anyone would want overseeing their children. The other children at the playground that day remembered a large black man, probably around 30 years old, who chased Rachel with chewing gum and led her away from the games into his car, described as blue with wooden paneling on the sides by the children who were present. Her mother, devastated, desperately hoped that she would be able to have her daughter found and returned to her safely, but that was sadly not the case. Rachel was found 24 days later, naked and hogtied in a river and almost entirely unrecognizable. Her parents had to undergo the traumatizing experience of confirming that it was their daughter by identifying the unique condition of her teeth. The body was in such poor condition that it wasn't possible at the time to even determine the cause of death or gather any evidence that may have led to the suspect being identified. But things seemed to only grow darker surrounding the murder. There was speculation that Rachel had been killed in part of a satanic ritual. More cases indicated that Rachel's murder had been filmed as part of a snuff film. There have also been accounts of black roses being left on Rachel's grave. Police eventually encountered a message written in a bathroom stall just a few miles from where Rachel was abducted. It read, "Beware, I'm still at large. I killed the little Runyon girl. Remember, beware." Beneath it, an inverted cross with the number 666. Though haunting, many people chalk this up to a satanic panic that was sweeping over the nation at the time of Rachel's murder. Police have had hundreds of suspects come across their path since the murder, some more promising than others, but none connected enough to charge with Rachel's murder. Rachel's mother has since become an advocate for endangered children and continues to help keep other families from having to endure the loss that she has.
20-year-old Arnold Archambault and 19-year-old Ruby Brugier were driving with Ruby's younger cousin, 17-year-old Tracy, one winter night in South Dakota in 1992. Unfortunately, the three made the mistake of drinking that night to the point of being drunk, and Arnold, while inebriated, was behind the wheel. Arnold jerked the wheel for an unknown reason and drove the car directly into a frozen ditch, flipping the car onto its roof. Tracy's memory from that night is unclear, but she recalled that when she gained consciousness, that Arnold was nowhere to be found and Ruby was attempting to get out of the car. Eventually, Ruby was able to free herself from the wrecked vehicle, leaving Tracy behind. Not saying a word to her, Ruby left the car behind and vanished. Luckily, paramedics arrived a short time later and were able to rescue Tracy from the vehicle, but Arnold and Ruby were both still missing. Months later, Arnold and Ruby were found. They were in the frozen ditch that they crashed into, both dead. One factor that threw off investigators was the fact that Ruby didn't have her glasses or shoes on and neither could be found, but all of her other clothing was intact. Perhaps most perplexing of all was that both bodies were in considerably different stages of decomposition, as if one body had been dead much longer than the other. Arnold's body, submerged in the frozen water, was in much better shape than Ruby's body, found in the same water. Not everyone believed that Arnold and Ruby were the victims of a drunken car accident. One person claimed to have witnessed Arnold on New Year's Eve, nearly 3 weeks after the accident. Whether foul play or the victims of an icy drowning, the exact circumstances of their deaths continue to perplex investigators.
On June 9th, 1912, families gathered at the...
I want to let you guys know that my Tourette's is starting to play out really bad. So if it looked like I have been rolling my eyes and just doing a bunch of weird stuff and blinking like that, that's uncontrollable. I can't help that. Even doing that, so if I look really weird to you guys, then that's uncontrollable, sorry.
Local Presbyterian church in the small town of Villisca, Iowa, for a special service marking the end of Sunday school for the year. The Moores, a dedicated, well-respected Christian family in the community, were all in attendance, including parents Josiah and Sarah, as well as their 4 children, sons Herman, Paul, and Boyd, their eldest child, Mary Catherine. But when the festivities ended, the Moore children weren't ready to let the day end and begged their parents to let neighbors Lena and Ina Stillinger spend the night. Seeing no harm in it, Josiah and Sarah agreed and they walked back to their home with the 6 children, serving them cookies before tucking them into bed that night. However, no one could know that it would be their last meal, or that the dawn would bring about horrific bloodshed. An unknown assailant had broken into the house and hid in the attic, smoking and waiting patiently for the family's return. After everyone had fallen asleep, the intruder barged into the adult's room and hacked Josiah with an axe until he was unrecognizable, before beating Sarah and all 6 of the sleeping children until the house fell silent again. But it wasn't just the gruesome discovery of the bodies the next morning that unnerved the police. The murder weapon was left behind in a bedroom next to a 4-pound cut of slab bacon, and an unfinished meal sat next to a bowl of bloodied water on the dining table. The killer had also, before leaving, taken the time to rifle through the family's clothing and use various pieces to cover all of the mirrors in the house. As thousands gathered for the funeral procession, local police were still trying to track down the Moores and the Stillinger sisters' killer. But after crossing off name after name on a long list of suspects, everyone from a state senator to a traveling rapper, they still had no solid leads, and the case turned cold. To this day, the why and the who behind the Villisca Axe murders remain unsolved. That's all for now on Before we go, here's a quick message from Chills from Top 15s.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Rob and I have another collab on my main channel titled Top 15 Disturbing School Incidents. Go check it out, the link is in the description. And be sure to subscribe because I upload new countdowns every week. See ya.
I'm gonna have a toilet, try and control my Tourette's and ADHD and all that. I'm gonna try and calm down and then come back and try and watch this other video. I'm desperate for the toilet, so... Anything? Nope. I think I've got trapped wind, hold on. No, I'm not doing this on purpose, by the way, hold on. I had this trapped wind thing earlier, and I had to silently fart it out whilst being on here. Sorry if that's gross, but...
Big thanks to Rob Dyke for joining me and narrating this video.
Number 15. Jeremy spoke in class today. American rock band Pearl Jam has a major fan favorite in the song Jeremy. Not many people know its dark meaning and the fact it is based on not one, but two tragic true stories. Jeremy Dele, a 15-year-old attending Richardson High School, was described as a quiet and melancholic teen. Unknown to his classmates and the staff, Dele had been suffering from major depression, which caused him to slip in his grades and face detention countless times. One day, Dele showed up to class late and was told by the teacher to get a late slip. When Dele returned, he had a revolver in his hand, which he promptly placed in his mouth and fired. Nobody had time to react, and it is likely Dele was killed instantly. A fellow classmate described Dele as kind and said the two would pass notes back and forth to each other during their time in school suspension. Pearl Jam singer Eddie Vedder read an article about the story and was moved to write the song. He stated years later he also had inspiration from a personal experience during his school days. A fellow classmate of his had brought a gun to school and began shooting in his oceanography classroom. While Vedder was not in the room at the time, he said he heard the shots and later found out the classmate was an individual whom he'd clashed with many times. As for Dele, his memory is forever within the lyrics of Jeremy, so now his voice can be heard.
Number 14, schoolyard possession. Demonic possession is a scary but popular topic since it piques much interest. In most cases, there is one possession which usually sparks controversy, but Elsa Para Flores School in Peru saw the idea of possession happen tenfold. In May of 2016, around 20 girls attending the school began suffering bizarre symptoms, including convulsions, vomiting, fainting spells, and even foaming at the mouth. All the sufferers talked about seeing a tall man wearing black stalking them, even though no one fitting that description was around. All the girls aged between 11 and 14 were rushed to a hospital, with trucks being used to transport them quickly. A further 80 to 100 students have since suffered the same symptoms and have been rushed to the hospital. The school believes it is a series of demonic possessions from malevolent forces living in the school. Experts believe the children are either suffering the effects of some sort of drug or even a type of mold known to cause hallucinations and severe sickness. The same mold is theorized to be the cause of the claims of witchcraft in New England in the early settled days of America. The story continues to expand, and until this source is figured out, it appears Flores School will continue to be plagued by the contagious demonic possession.
Number 13, the mystery of Kendrick Johnson. A case which has caused much controversy is made even more tragic since it happened at school during class hours. Kendrick Johnson was a basketball player at Lowndes High School in Valdosta, Georgia, and Johnson was a basketball player at Lowndes High School in Valdosta, Georgia, and was considered by peers to be very talented in the sport. On January 11, 2013, staff and students were shocked when Johnson's body was found in a rolled-up gym mat. An initial autopsy revealed Johnson had suffocated, leading investigators to believe he had climbed in to retrieve something and got stuck, unable to breathe. However, the family refused this explanation and ordered another autopsy to be conducted. This time, signs of blunt force trauma to the head were discovered, and the case became a homicide investigation. However, the case has since stood still, and no suspects have been named. Johnson's family have accused the school board and police of orchestrating a cover-up, which both institutes deny. As of 2016, there is an ongoing wrongful death suit of $100 million, which is still awaiting judgment. Whatever happened to Johnson in that gym is left to speculation, with some stating it was a freak accident and others saying it was a racially motivated homicide.
Number 12, the Noose Incident. Racism is not isolated to one region of the world and unfortunately encompasses a vast geological landscape. In the South Shore of Nova Scotia, Canada, a rather disturbing case angered people across the country. In May 2016, a series of racial-motivated incidents began to occur, mostly the raising of Confederate flags by students. The most horrific and disgusting was when an African-American teacher arrived at school to find a noose hanging over his desk. CBC News managed to dig into the case and found the racially charged incidents had been occurring since early 2015, but the school board has remained quiet and they are trying to deal with the situation. So far, the motivation behind the incidents is unknown, apart from purely discriminatory behavior. After an investigation by the school board, the student involved in the new incident was identified and disciplined, although they have refused to comment on what was done as punishment. Hopefully, this will be the end of the South Shore racist incidents, and maybe the world can eventually put racism behind them.
Number 11, Playground of Blood. For many children, recess was something they all looked forward to. The well-needed break during the school day was in order to get their energy going and keep them from becoming drained during their studies. However, a school in Sydney, Australia got a massive shock when the recess bell rang. Children rushed out into the field only to find the cubby house was covered in what appeared to be blood. Police arrived on the scene and it was revealed more than 30 centimeters of blood covered the entire cubby house. At first believing it to be a sick prank using red food coloring or animal's blood, forensics testing proved the blood indeed belonged to a human being. More tragic is the blood appeared to be that of a male child. Police immediately opened a homicide investigation and are still searching for answers. However, there has so far been no DNA matches to any unsolved cases, leading many to believe there could be a small child out there still undiscovered. As of 2016, the case remains open but has gone cold due to the lack of significant evidence to provide a lead, leaving police and the community both scratching their heads and mourning the possible loss of an infant, the identity of whom we may never know.
Number 10, the untimely death of Dominic Gallegos. Children in elementary love to be physically active and long for recess and gym. Sadly, it can lead to unforeseen consequences. Dominic Gallegos was outside during gym class playing soccer when he collided with another kid. While everyone expected him to brush it off and get back up, other children reported he was not getting up and was unconscious.
Let me look at the comments. Okay. Nothing. Okay.
Gallegos was rushed to a hospital where he was unfortunately pronounced dead. Police came to the hospital, but it was determined there were no signs of foul play and his death was caused by a freak accident. School staff and students were devastated. It was later determined when Gallegos had fallen, another student has stomped on his chest twice, at which point he fell unconscious. The boy who did so was known to have bullied Gallegos countless times in the past, and Gallegos' family sought some sort of justice for their son. However, an autopsy revealed Gallegos had an undiagnosed enlarged heart, and no further trauma was found to his body. It was officially determined to be a freak accident from an undiagnosed medical condition, and no one was held accountable for Gallegos' untimely passing.
Number 9, the Lakewood incident. It's no secret that people in high school begin to feel a range of emotions as their bodies mature. Sadly, this can lead to extremely malicious crimes. Lakewood, California is a city within Los Angeles County. In the early 1990s, a group of high school boys decided to hold a competition to see which of them could have sex with the most girls. They dubbed themselves the Spur Posse after their favorite basketball team, the San Antonio Spurs. Soon, their antics became out of hand, and there was wide accusation of some of the teens raping girls in order to gain a lead in the competition. By 1993, LA County sheriffs caught wind of the incidents and began an investigation. Several of the Spur Posse were arrested on March 18th, and they became known across the nation. All but one of the boys were released after detectives found their sexual encounters had been consensual, but one teen was kept under statutory rape charges after it was found he had sex with girls as young as 10 years old. A victim testified she found one of the teens at her window and he demanded sex, which she obliged out of fear of rumors that the boys harmed girls, who declined. After the case was closed, the boys continued to be infamous and made appearances on tabloid talk shows across the country. The case remains controversial, and activists today use it as an example of why sexual offenders should receive harsher sentences for their crimes.
Number 8, Pocatello High School's eerie residents. Pocatello is a quiet city in southern Idaho, best known by the outside world for having its flag voted the worst flag in North America. However, paranormal enthusiasts know the city for the haunted Pocatello High School. Constructed in 1892, the school has a long history and rumors of violence and foul play during its existence. The most infamous incident at the school was when two students, Brian Draper and Tori Adamkick, murdered their classmate Cassie Jo Studdard. The high school itself is said to be home to several ghosts, with students witnessing strange apparitions and security footage capturing several entities after the doors are locked. It is not officially known who these spirits are, but there are stories of students committing suicide during school hours in the mid-20th century. The school even burned down in 1914, but people are still searching for answers in hopes of helping the spirits come to rest.
Number 7, Virginia Tech's second tragedy. The moment someone mentions Virginia Tech, we almost always remember the tragic April day when a gunman killed 32 students before turning the gun on himself. To this day, it remains the worst school shooting in American history. Sadly, this wasn't the end of Virginia Tech's string of tragedies. Chinese student Xin Yang arrived to begin her studies and reached out to fellow Chinese as she was alone in the country. She attended events and social gatherings with international students and quickly found people she considered friends. In January 2009, she befriended 25-year-old Haiyang Zhu, but this would prove to be fatal. In a shocking and horrific act, Zhu beheaded Yang with a kitchen knife in a campus coffee shop before a crowd of stunned onlookers. His motives remain unknown, as witnesses say they appeared to be smiling, and no argument had taken place between them prior to the event. People who know Zhu described him as charming and kind, which leaves even more questions unanswered. Zhu was taken into custody within minutes of the murder, and he was charged with first-degree murder. As if things couldn't possibly get worse, just under 3 years later, gunshots once again rang out on the campus, and police found 2 dead in a parking lot. An officer had made a routine stop when he was shot several times and killed. An investigation later revealed the second body belonged to the shooter, and he had shot himself. Virginia Tech has remained strong through these strings of bad luck, and the campus appears to have been pulled closer together as a community.
Number 6, The Watcher in the Ceiling. A former student of Westland High School in Oregon had a truly scary experience to recall on Reddit of a close encounter with a ghost. During his freshman year, the student known as Jack asked to use the restroom during class and made his way down the hall. While walking, he felt a cold breeze move past him, and his hair began to stand on end. He ignored the feeling and entered the restroom. As he was sitting in one of the stalls, he knocked on the stall door. He said it was occupied, but there was no answer. As he was about to brush it off again, he realized no one was in the bathroom, as he had not heard the doors open or seen feet in front of the stall. He then heard bumps coming from the ceiling and looked up, where a large hole was above him. To his horror, he saw a figure staring down at him emotionless. Despite shaking with fear, he managed to snap a photo before running to the nearby janitor's office. He said there was someone in the ceiling and showed them the photo. Police were called to search the building, but they found nobody there. Jack's photo is enough to give viewers chills of their own, as the figure appears to have no facial features except for the outline of a nose, ears, and where eyes should be. Apart from that, it is completely white but still looks menacing. No other has appeared since, and it is unknown if the figure was an actual person or a spirit long forgotten.
Number 5, the Steubenville tragedy. By far one of the most notorious and well-known occurrences on this list, Steubenville is located in eastern Ohio. Residents, as well as the entire country, were rocked by a horrific crime in August of 2012. In the late hours of the 11th, a local high school girl, who has not been identified, was intoxicated while several of her peers sexually assaulted her. Several of the participants documented their acts through photos and videos taken from their cell phones, and later bragged about the acts on social media. However, 2 of the prime suspects, Trent Mays and Malik Richmond, who were the star football players on the school team, orchestrated a cover-up in an attempt to get away with it. But by then, word had spread. Ohio authorities obtained evidence from cell phones of those present and hundreds of texts between students discussing what had happened. The victim stated she had no memory of the events, but awoke in a basement completely naked, surrounded by Mays, Richmond, and another boy. Mays and Richmond were arrested and charged with sexual assault, and both received a 1-year sentence. Mays was released in January of 2015, while Richmond was released 1 year previously. The case has caused much outcry against rape culture, and many have said the boys' punishment was far too light. When sentenced, the boys cried, saying nobody would want them anymore, but the public didn't seem to have much sympathy.
Number 4, Canada's residential schools. When it comes to the dark shadows on a nation's history, there are usually enough to fill volumes of books. In Canada, the residential schools have painted a bloody history on Canada's relations with its First Nations communities. Known officially as the Canadian Indian Residential Schools, these institutions were administered by various Christian churches throughout Canada. Their objectives was to remove members of the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis and assimilate them into Canadian society. Throughout Canadian history, roughly 30% of Native children were forced to attend residential schools and were subjected to appalling treatment. Students were forced to speak English, participate in Christian prayers, and various menial tasks such as cleaning the halls. If they refused or made mistakes, They would be punished by whipping and sometimes isolation for long periods of time. The students lived on campus in overcrowded dorms that were not properly heated and had poor sanitation. Many did not survive their stays, and the majority who did survive suffered severe psychological issues after, leading to alcoholism and even suicide. Sexual abuse was also highly present within the schools by staff. More shocking, this residential school closed in 1996, over 100 years after they opened and decades after the conditions were discovered, albeit the conditions were dramatically improved by then. Today, the Canadian government has made efforts to reconcile with the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis communities, with the Truth and Reconciliation Committee actively working with the different bands. In June 2008, then Prime Minister Stephen Harper issued a formal apology on behalf of the Canadian government and said the government is working to help improve the quality of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people, although it still meets with controversy to this day.
Number 3, the tragic case of Trevor Veronez. School resource officers have to deal with a variety of things on school grounds, from locker searches to fights to simply having a sense of security for the school. Officer Marcus Rhodes unfortunately had to have a rather traumatic experience in October of 2009. Student Trevor Veronez, who suffered mild autism, brandished a knife and attacked Rhodes, stabbing him several times. Rhodes had no choice but to shoot Veronez several times, killing him. This left the school and community in shock as people attempted to understand what went wrong. Witnesses claim that Veronez was a well-mannered student and very kind, but on this day was threatening to commit suicide for reasons unknown. Rhodes stepped in to calm him down, at which point Veronez charged, leading to the shooting. Another student claimed Veronez once threatened to kill everyone in the class, but his threats were dismissed by the students because of his condition. The student was quoted as saying he was actually like two different people. One minute he could be nice, sweet, helping you out. Another motive for the tragic event related to the bullying Veronez was subjected to for his condition. The Civil Court awarded the Veronez family a $175,000 settlement for wrongful death, and the school has continued to try and move on from the incident.
Number 2, the Martinsville satanic sex scandal. During the 1980s and 90s, a moral panic swept across the United States with hundreds of cases of alleged sexual abuse in daycares. Many were said to be part of satanic rituals, and soon various communities were finding themselves engulfed in a mass investigation and panic. The small town of Martinsville, Saskatchewan, Canada had one of its own. In 1992, a mother alleged her child had been sexually abused by a local woman who ran a daycare center. As police began an investigation, reports flooded the station with claims of sexual abuse by a satanic cult known as the Brotherhood of the Ram. Soon, people, including 5 police officers of 3 different detachments, were facing over 100 charges of child molestation and sexual abuse. However, many of these charges were dropped after evidence proved the events had not taken place, but one individual was charged with molestation, albeit not to the same extent of the original charges. After the local detachment became overwhelmed with the cases, an RCMP task force took over the investigation and concluded there was nothing more than mass hysteria, and investigators had mishandled the investigation, leading questions to the witnesses, praising children for giving incriminating answers. The couple who were initially accused of the abuse received a $924,000 settlement in 2004 for emotional and personal damages as a result of the claims. It goes to show just how much a rumor can spread and the drastic effect it can have on the lives of people.
Number 1, the Mecca Girls School Fire. Saudi Arabia has been known for having a controversial human rights record and a strict religious code known as Sharia law. In the city of Mecca, considered the center of the Islamic world, a major incident caused outcry across the globe. In the early morning of March 11, 2002, a fire broke out at the Mecca Intermediate School number 31. As teachers and children ran for the exits, members of the religious police, or Mutaween, prevented several girls from exiting the building to safety because they were not properly covered, and there was a risk of male emergency personnel coming into contact with them. As a result, 15 girls perished in the fire, 9 of whom were Saudi, and the rest from Chad, Egypt, Guinea, Niger, and Nigeria. while an inquiry found that the Mutaween had not interfered until the situation was under control. Witnesses claim they were there in full force and not allowing girls to leave the school. This was not the last incident of such matter. In 2014, a female student at a Saudi university was denied access to proper medical care because the advanced medical assistants were male, thus resulting in her death. As a result of this and the school fire, activists have called for sanctions against Saudi Arabia until they improve their civil rights record.
Thank you for watching. Be sure to drop by my channel to watch the second part of Top 15s in my collaboration, a video on 10 horrifying unsolved deaths.
Okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm tired. My Tourette's are really getting bad. I'm gonna have to end it here, guys. As much as I wouldn't want to, I'm just embarrassed with my Tourette's and my ADHD and everything. I mean, even though I can't even though I can't help it, I have to end it here. I probably will ask my mum for some medicine because I'm getting sick of coughing and my throat is really starting to hurt. Don't cough, come on, please don't cough. Yeah, I'm gonna have to end it here. Sorry about the coughing, I know it's been really loud and really frustrating to hear everything, but yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this live stream. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Like, comment and subscribe. Make sure to hit the bell icon so you guys get notified on when I upload or live stream. Flipping hell, it's nearly 5 o'clock. I didn't even know that. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next live stream. Bye.